Hi all. Our today's topic of discussion is the quality by design, which is abbreviated as QbD in pharmaceutical development. So we will be going to start with the introduction of this topic. So it's defined by it is a systematic approach to the pharmaceutical development that begins with the predefined objective and emphasizes the product and process understanding and process control. The concept, which was formally introduced in the ICH Q8, that is the Pharmaceutical Development Guidelines. So, what are the key principles of this? So, first one is the quality should be built into the product during the development itself instead of testing it at the last. And this traditional manufacturing relied heavily on the end product testing instead of building the quality inside the product, while the QBD focuses on the process understanding and control. So the question might come to our mind like why the QBD is important. The reason is traditional pharmaceutical development has the several limitations. These limitations could include the limited understanding of the manufacturing process or the high variability in the product quality as well as the frequent manufacturing failures. This may also include the limitation of the numerous post-approval regulatory changes. Then QBD addresses these problems by improving the product and process understanding. This is the first approach. Then second, by reducing the manufacturing variability. Third, by increasing the regulatory flexibility and supporting the lifecycle management. Regulatory agencies like the FDA, EMA, PMDA strongly encourage the QBD implementation. Moving on to the key elements of QBT. The first and would say the important attributes or the element of the QBT is the quality target product profile QTPP. Then we have critical quality attributes, critical material attributes, critical process parameters, risk assessment, design of experiment, design space, control strategy, and lifecycle management. These elements together help ensure the consistent product quality. So we'll start with the quality target product profile QTPP. It's defined the desired characteristics of the final drug product to ensure the safety and efficacy. The examples could include the dosage form, route of administration, strength, stability, dissolution profile, and bioavailability. Examples, for example, paracetamol tablet and the QTPP may include the immediate release tablet with the strength of 500 mg and it's administered orally with rapid dissolution within 30 minutes. So this QTPP act as a foundation of the quality by design. The next important attribute we have that is the critical quality attribute CQAs. Then the CQAs are the physical, chemical, biological or the microbiological properties that must be controlled to ensure the product quality. The examples could include the assays, dissolution, content uniformity, impurity, tablet hardness, disintegration time. If the critical quality attributes fall outside the acceptable limits and the product safety or efficacy may get compromised. So that's why these critical quality attributes are derived from the critical uh, quality target product profile, quality target product profile using the scientific knowledge and risk assessment. Moving on to the third important aspect, that is the critical material attributes as well as the critical process parameter. So first we'll talk about the critical material attributes. These are the properties of raw material or the excipient that impact the product quality. The examples could include the particle size of APIs, then polymorphic form of that particular API, as well as the moisture content. The next important attribute we have that is the critical process parameters. These are the process parameters that influence the critical quality attributes. Example are the granulation time, compression force, drying temperature, as well as mixing speed. Moving on to the another parameter, that is the uh, before moving on to the next parameter, we'll just discuss about the importance of this critical process parameter. A parameter that is considered as a critical if its variability significantly affect the critical quality attribute. Anything that is affecting the critical quality attributes will going to be considered as an critical. So that's why it's called as critical process parameter. Moving on to the risk assessment in QBD. Risk assessment helps the identify which variable impact the product quality the most. The common tool used includes the failure mode effect analysis. This is a very important tool for the risk assessment. And this risk assessment helps to identify which variable impact the product quality the most. So by using the FMEA, that is the failure mode effect analysis, we can evaluate the which parameter is going to impact the most. The second we have the fishbone, that is the Ishikawa diagram, as well as the hazard analysis and critical control point, that is HSCCP. Risk assessment help prioritize the high risk process parameter, critical materials, and important process steps. These steps guide the experimental design and process optimization. Moving on to the design of experiment. This design of experiment is a statistical tool used to study the relationship between the process variable and process product quality attributes. Design of experiment scientifically uh, allows scientists to study the multiple variables simultaneously, also to understand the parameter interaction and optimize the manufacturing process. The examples could include the granulation time, binder concentration, and drying temperature. These all example we are discussing for the oral solid dosage form, mostly the tablet and capsules, and this improves the process understanding significantly. Now moving on to the design space. Design space defined as the multidimensional combination of input variables and process parameters that have been demonstrated to provide the assurance of quality. So important regulatory principle operating within the approved design space is not considered as an regulatory change. Is not considered. We have to remember, focus on this one. So if you are operating within the design space, then that change won't be considered as a regulatory change. And we don't need to take the prior approval permission or we don't need to file any CB0 or CB30 for this. This provides the manufacturing flexibility. Example include the compression force, which ranging from the 8 to 12 kilonewton. So here, if you are moving from, let's suppose, at the 9 or 10 or 11, or even in between this one, you don't need to take the permission or you don't need to notify the agency regarding this change. Uh, so you could simply mention this change into the annual report for the US FDA submission. Don't need to file any supplements for this. As long as the manufacturing operates within the range, no regulatory variation is required. Moving on to the control strategy. Control strategy ensures that the process consistency produce the product meeting the quality required. It includes the raw material control, process monitoring, in-process testing, finished product specification, and the process analytical technology. So control strategies ensures the consistent manufacturing performance. And lifecycle management, QBD support the continuous improvement throughout the product lifecycle. And it includes the ongoing process monitoring, continuous process verification, and post-approval improvement. Knowledge management as well as the this approach aligns with the ICH Q10 pharmaceutical quality system. Moving on to the second last point, which is the regulatory benefits of QBD. So regulatory authority encourage the QBD because it provide the greater process understanding, then it reduces the regulatory burden, then it also fears the post-approval variations and improve the product consistency. In some of the cases, regulator may allow the greater manufacturing flexibility for the product developed using the QBD principles. Then the last real industry example we'll see. In pharmaceutical company develop an immediate release tablet with a dissolution variability using QBD. The risk assessment identified API particle size as critical. Then design of experiment evaluated the particle size versus dissolution, and the design space for the particle size distribution was established. The control strategy include the raw material particle size limit. Results are the dissolution variability was eliminated, manufacturing become more robust, and regulatory approval was smoother. Key takeaways are the qualified design focus on the building the quality into the product, understanding the manufacturing processes, and using the science and risk management, establishing a robust control strategies. QBD represent a modern regulatory approach to the pharmaceutical development and is strongly supported by the ICH Q8, 9, and 10. This is all about the QBD, quality by design. Thank you.